Welcome to our continuing YouTube video series on employment law. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal, and in this particular video we will be discussing the concept of workplace discrimination. As the term would suggest, workplace discrimination occurs in the workplace and is a product of the employment process. And although it does not necessarily act exclusively with respect to how one's employer is treating the employee, that is very often the typical refrain. It can also pertain to relationships with other employees and other persons in the workplace situation. Now, moving on, what is the discrimination aspect? Well, it is the effect of a distinction in one's person from others that is used to their disadvantage or applied to their disadvantage. And such distinction, improperly used and transgressing what the law states, constitutes discrimination. So, if an individual is being improperly treated in the workplace because of their sexual orientation, because of their sex, because of their age, those situations may well constitute workplace discrimination. So what are the scenarios that we typically find unlawful discrimination in the workplace? This can commonly be seen in the recruitment or hiring process, in the training process as to how one is trained, in the assignment of positions, whether a person is assigned a part-time role, a temporary role, an interning role, and thereafter how they are elevated or promoted or the lack thereof because of those underlying traits against which they are discriminated against. It may also arise in the manner and the selection of those individuals who are either terminated, dismissed, or laid off from their job relative to other individuals. Similarly, discrimination can occur in the work process, whether it applies to how wages are paid, salaries are increased, hours are worked, holidays are allocated, benefits are allocated, and how performance reviews are completed and applied to the employment process. In each of these scenarios, there is the possibility of workplace discrimination. And what can be the basis of this workplace discrimination? Well, it can be impacted by the age of the individual, how age is treated in the assessment, advancement, determinations. Similarly, ancestry, ethnicity, one's place of origin, and more clearly, one's skin color, one's race, even one's citizenship can have an impact, and where that impact is determinative, it can constitute workplace discrimination. The same would apply to one's religion or creed, one's gender. If one is handicapped or disabled, or similarly becomes handicapped or disabled. It can pertain to aspects of sex, including pregnancy and breastfeeding and practices related thereto. It can turn on one's sexual orientation, one's marital status, one's family status. It can also pertain to one's having a criminal record, a record of offenses within employment, and the potential for public assistance. Each of these grounds can be the basis upon which workplace discrimination occurs. So when your treatment in the workplace or your lack of comparable treatment relative to others who do not share those traits, those characteristics, is such that you as a worker, as an employee, are negatively impacted because of your having such traits or characteristics, then there may well be a viable cause for workplace discrimination. Naturally, the connection between them needs to be properly assessed and analyzed to ensure that there is something not else that is motivating the situation. So one cannot put on a set of blinders and necessarily say that simply because one has these characteristics, one is always being discriminated against when their treatment is lacking compared to others. It may well be the reason, but then there may be other reasons behind that. So one needs to be cautious while be diligent in ascertaining what may well be the basis for those actions. And in consultation with knowledgeable legal counsel who understands the particular rules and laws particular to your jurisdiction and might well be able to transpose how the pertinent facts of your situation apply to those laws and rules and case precedent from the courts in your particular jurisdiction. You may well be able to ascertain the validity and the strength of one's claim, should there be a claim for workplace harassment that one may have been the victim of, and from which there was a contravention of law. This is the overall concept of workplace harassment. And it may be distinguished from other or seen as a subset to other forms of harassment in the workplace, such as sexual harassment, which is tied into workplace harassment, but nevertheless, in many respects, has its own constituent legal basis in many aspects, and follows its own somewhat distinguishable particularities with respect to how it is treated in the law, given the potential for far greater severity and its potential to be far clearer as to the application in the workplace setting. So I trust you found this YouTube video of interest and enlightenment. And as always, it provides some reference points, some conceptual ideas with respect to the particular legal concept, but of itself is only the beginning. There is more to it, a lot of it depending on one's particular jurisdiction, and thereafter so much is heavily laid into the factual specifics that need to be addressed so as to properly understand and articulate the concept of workplace harassment as it pertains to a particular scenario and what that legal impact could potentially be. Thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking with you again.